May go Van and Malone, and welcome back to another episode of the NerdTalk podcast. I'm Alex, here always with Vance.
Hello, everybody.
Today we're gonna pose a very interesting question to you, which is: are robots human?
And this is actually a debate that's been going on. Well, it's not really a debate that's been going on. It's kind of an age-old question ever since Isaac Asimov wrote I, Robot, a series of
Short stories.
short stories. Yeah.
They it's actually this whole question is a very popular science fiction trope. You know, a lot of sci-fi writers write about robots and whether or not we consider them to be human. Isaac Asimov wrote about it extensively, not only in iRobot, but also in The Bicentennial Man, which is the movie was based off of one of his works.
Right.
Um, Honestly, it's a good question. It's a difficult question to answer because if you want to answer that question, the first question you have to answer is, well, what makes a human a human?
Right.
What defines humanity?
And um, I haven't watched a lot of Star Trek, but there's one episode I have watched, and Alex knows the episode, so he knows it more in depth. So I'll let him.
Okay.
In that episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation, really delves into that question.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and explain this question
But
or this episode.
before you do, I'm just going to explain the three laws of robotics because that's what this whole thing is all about.
Okay.
A robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come into harm. A robot must obey the orders given to it by human beings except where such orders would conflict with the first law. And a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law.
I love those laws because they're so paradoxical. It's great.
It is. Alright, so
Okay. So the Star Trek episode that Vance mentioned that I know about is called The Measure of a Man. It's a Star Trek The Next Generation episode. It's from season 2. It's episode 9.
good lord, Alex, you are such a
I have it
nerd.
I had it pulled up on Wikipedia because I wanted to see. I was just
Okay.
making sure. But the basic premise of this episode is Lieutenant Commander Data. He is an android serving aboard the USS Enterprise under Captain Picard. Is going to be declared Starfleet property by the leaders of Starfleet. And basically, by him being declared property, they are Starfleet can take him apart for science and study how he works and essentially just deactivate him just completely without his consent, because to them he's not a human being. So Data tries to lobby for his own humanity, even though he's an android. He tries to get himself classified as not a human, but not property of Starfleet. You know what I mean? Where he's like a sentient life form, and he has the same rights as all other humans, even though he's not human.
Right.
It's a very good episode. I haven't seen it in a couple of years. We had to watch it in English class, but it's a good episode. It's a very good moral episode. You know, it raises the question: what defines humanity?
Right.
So let's try not to get I mean, it's going to be hard, but let's try not to get too philosophical here. But Vance, what do you think would define humanity?
Well, I think that episode really discusses it pretty plainly. Data, I'm trying to remember. Data has feelings.
Only when he puts in an emotion chip. He has a sort of chip that he puts in that gives him feelings.
But
if it's not in there, he doesn't have them.
He can express feelings.
Mm-hmm.
He has his own individual thoughts, and in order to really answer that debate properly, I think a bigger question is, what is the difference between a robot and an android?
An android is usually all androids are robots, but not all robots are androids.
But it goes a little beyond, I think, just androids. It goes all the
And
long.
and
It
an
goes
android,
beyond that.
from I think the science fiction definition of an android is a robot that is capable of human thought. Human thought. They can what am I looking for? They're basically people in a metal body. Okay, a robot is basically a non-thinking kind of machine that just kind of goes along its day-to-day routine. Robots or androids are capable of bettering themselves. Robots are not. Is I think how it goes, or at least it's my personal um,
All right.
thought.
As so in my argument, a robot can, but not necessarily does not have to be in the form of a human, right?
Right.
But an
Right.
android is always in the form of a human. So
Correct.
following this line of reasoning, um, and I did a little bit of research. SRI International's Shaky was robot, while ATR Intelligent Robotics and Communication Laboratories Geminoid F is an android. Look it up. There is, however, an issue with the definition of an android. Just what does in the form of a human mean? It can be argued that an android should be able to pass as a human in natural light. So if you subscribe to this belief, C-3PO from Star Wars and R. Giscard Reventlov from Isaac Asimov's The Robots of Dawn are robots, not androids. The reason for this conclusion is that by no stretch of the imagination can either pass as human. On the other hand, Data from Star Trek can pass as human, albeit a human with an odd complexion. So it falls in the android classification.
See, that's a good. That's a good. That makes sense what you're saying, but what I think, an android has to want more out of life. For example, Data.
Bicentennial Man.
Yeah, not just well that too, but Data in the entire run of Star Trek: The Next Generation always wanted to know what it would be like to be human. It was his quote unquote. It was like his goal, kind of. He wanted to be human, not so much in the way that Andrew and the Bicentennial Man did, where he fully became human,
Right.
but Data wanted to experience what it was like to be human, going so far as to not only trying to have physical contact, romance with a human, having his own child,
Right.
giving himself emotions. He did all the things that he thought humans did just so he could feel like he was human.
Yeah, he even, upgraded so his cells would degenerate.
Yeah. Um,
He would live he wanted to live as a human and he wanted to die as a human of natural
yeah.
causes. His cells just degenerated. That's why I think
Data.
it's one of the greatest performances in a science fiction movie
Mm-hmm.
by the now past Robin Williams.
Oh, you're talking about okay, okay, yeah, I got you. Um, but see, I'm gonna argue against they have to pass as human. Like saying C-3PO couldn't pass as human, but Data could.
Right.
I don't think it's so much your appearance, but how you act.
Right.
For example, Data. If you didn't know that Data was an android, you would think he was a human, except for the fact that he kind of has weird speech patterns and yellow eyes and really really white skin. But it's the way that you act. Data can talk like a human. He can form sentences. He has coherent thoughts. He has a mind of his own. He has opinions. He has all those things that we as humans have. Now he doesn't have feelings. He doesn't have emotions. At least not when not when the chip's not activated. But if he's got the chip and everything, then he's practically human because he can make decisions. He has what I believe what makes us human. What we have, he has curiosity.
Right.
Data is always trying to figure things out. What's it like to be human? What are just different things.
He's
That kind
always
of stuff.
trying to find something more.
Yeah, kind of like humans always do. And I know I say curiosity, and I know pretty much every sentient race on Earth has that. Everyone is curious at some point. Every animal is. But like you said, but like you just put it, he's trying to find something more, which is why I believe that's what makes him human, because he's trying to find something more. He's trying to be better than what he is. He's trying to better himself.
Right.
That's
Well, in the
what makes us human, in my opinion.
in the current influx of robotics and androids into popular 20th century and 21st century science fiction, the line between robot and human, well, android and human, is growing ever thinner. For example, in we all, as we discussed the three laws of robotics, I want to go back to that for a minute. In the new game Alien Isolation, there are some guys called the Working Joes, or at least I think that's what they're called. Now,
Okay.
they will actually attack you and try to kill you.
Hmm.
I'm not sure what the entire story is, but right offhand, that breaks rule number one.
Okay. Do the robots in that game follow the three laws of robotics?
It's actually specifically stated that they're supposed to and that they should be non-violent,
Huh.
but yet they still attack you. I'm not sure what the entire story is, but what could the possible reason? Like, there comes a time where you're like crawling around the vents and you look out and you see this guy fighting with one of the Joes. Now
Okay.
he shoots him or hits him with a crowbar or something, and it picks him up, slams him against a steel column, and smashes his head in. As gruesome as that is, what possible reason could a robot have for doing that if still following the three laws of robotics? Because it is specifically stated that they are following the three laws of robotics.
Hmm. And see, that's another thing. If you put laws into effect regarding a certain species, for like the three laws of robotics, if you program that into a robot, they're mindless drones. But if they have the ability to see those laws and to see where those laws may not exactly be, you know, followable, then it kind of makes them human, because they realize I don't need to do that. There's no freaking purpose. There's no need for me to do that.
Well, if I understand correctly, I believe that the whole story behind that is when you first find them, um, you're like checking in to a section of the ship that the aliens haven't, attacked or whatever.
Hmm.
Well, I mean they've attacked the entire ship, but it's kind of your refuge. When you arrive, they tell you check in and wait over here or whatever. But then you start going into restricted areas, and I think that it's those restricted areas.
Uh-huh.
But I think it also could have something to do with tampering. Like I said, I don't know the entire story.
That's true.
So, but in order to look at this issue any further, we have to really see the working Joes can be classified as androids, even though they got humanoid androids, even though they've got green glowing LEDs for eyes.
Yeah.
But like Data or Andrew from Bicentennial Man, after he got all his skin grafts and everything,
Yeah.
those from the minute they felt actual motion and the minute they started looking human, it's a tough call to
He,
make, really.
okay. Here's a robot we can because science fiction and popular culture is just littered with robots. Nowadays. R2D2.
I
Could
think
you cons
R2D2 is should be classified as a robot,
as a robot, not
but
an android, but just a robot?
I will admit that at times he exhibits emotions.
He does. He exhibits emotions. He exhibits fear, trepidation, sadness,
Yeah.
um, sassiness.
Oh yeah.
Um, he's got that. He's got the emotion range, but could you consider him almost human?
You see, that is a hard question to answer because he looks absolutely nothing like a human. I believe we've all come to that consensus.
Well, yeah.
But he
I
has the
mean,
emotions of a human.
exactly. I mean, R2D2, it's a difficult one because, well, first of all, he he can communicate, but not with everyone. He can only communicate with a few certain people. C-3PO. I think Luke Skywalker could understand him a little bit.
With his cut off hand.
Yeah,
And
but
then, of course, Anakin.
yeah, Anakin. But like, there are very few people. Yoda could understand R2D2,
Right.
but he can't communicate his ideas with others. But he can communicate his feelings. He can do that just fine. He can do that clearly with the way he vocalizes and beeps
Right.
and stuff like that.
If he's got the when he gets thrown out of the pond in Dagobah, I like to refer to that as the R2 Wilhelm scream.
Yeah,
When he does that, obviously he's, I guess, in fear.
yeah, it's fear. That's definitely a scream of fear.
And also one of the funniest screams in the prequel. Or not the prequel, the original trilogy.
Yeah, R2D2 is a little snot. He does have a personality. That's
He
what I've
does
been looking
things
for
his
this whole
own
time.
way.
Personality.
It's one of those things where I'm going to do what I want to do. Don't get in my way. And if you
Mm-hmm.
do, go to hell. Simple as that.
Ooh, here's a good one. A good robot I could bring up. Daleks.
Oh,
What do you think? I have an answer for this, but
they're
I'll let you
not
go first.
they're not human by any stretch of the means.
Not human. That's
Not
what
human.
I agree with you. Let's see if we have the same understanding.
All
Why?
right,
Why
so
don't you think they're human?
I think. Well, actually, I know that Daleks are literally just a little octopus-looking squid inside a metal
Right.
casing. Now, they have the ability to feel emotion, but during their training or whatever, all that was removed and replaced with anger and hatred for everything else in the universe and the
Yeah.
Doctor. Extra emphasis on the Doctor.
I fully agree with you. The Daleks have virtually no emotions. They only experience anger and hatred, and they've only got one purpose in their entire existence, and that's to
Exterminate.
dominate all life forms. Not just extermination, but domination.
Well,
They,
however, I believe I think it was an episode with Rose in it that there was a Dalek chained up and she
uh-huh.
touched it and it got all its feelings mixed up and when it cornered her.
Well, that one was defective.
Okay.
That was a defective unit. There was also, if you've seen the episode Asylum of the Daleks, have you seen that episode?
Yes, that was a
Yeah,
crazy episode.
that was a good episode. But like, there's a whole like group of Daleks that are just like completely just destroyed and ruined. That they have human emotions.
Right.
That was a
And then
beautiful
there was
episode.
I think it was the first or second episode with Capaldi in it where they were
The
actually
second
inside a
one,
Dalek.
Into the Dalek, that was freaking awesome.
That was a good episode.
Although my
And
favorite, I think it was I forget. Anyway, continue.
no, you go on.
I was going to say one of my favorite lines in this whole series was when the Dalek looks at the Doctor and goes, "You are a good Dalek," and it's like, oh snap.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That reminds me, this entire season we haven't done a Doctor Who episode.
we were waiting until the season ended. Remember?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, there
because
is.
it's over. The season's, well, it's Christmas special, but yeah.
Well,
Anyway, yeah, I don't think you can consider Daleks to be human or could classify them like that. Trying to think of other famous robots in science fiction. It should be like every single one of them. Cybermen, no.
Cybermen. Well, the thing about Cybermen is they That's actually a tough one to answer
Did you
because
did you
humans are encased or can be encased in the Cyberman shell, right?
right?
Oh. And they just have all emotions ripped out.
Yeah.
And the same thing as the Daleks.
Did you see the final episode of the season?
This season,
This
I
is
know what
season.
happened, but I did not see it.
You didn't see the episode. Well,
No.
basically, it's not a spoiler. Cybermen can literally delete their emotions. Like they're just all gone. They are mindless drones with really, actually, their sole purpose isn't even to. Well, actually, no, it is to convert humans to Cybermen and a sort of domination scheme. And like that's it. That's all they do. It's
Wait,
like a
so what
mindless.
you're saying though is that Cybermen are a little more effective than Daleks in terms of that. See, Daleks have all their emotions removed for them, but the process can be defective, which is why we have defective Daleks.
Mhm.
But Cybermen can be programmed to delete their own emotions.
Right. There's a scene in the show in the final in this season finale where that happens, and it's a very very emotional scene.
The entire show of Doctor Who is one big emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, but this
You
episode is
laugh,
like
you cry, you gasp in shock,
you cry
you
some
cry some
more,
more.
you yell at the TV, you cry a little more. Yeah, it's this the season finale was I was in tears.
I was shocked to find out who, spoiler name here, was.
Oh, we'll talk about that when we talk about the series, but the season finale of the season. But um, anyway, so
Trying to think of more robots.
oh, come on, there's gotta be something. I should have made a list before I started, but I've been so busy. Um, Come on, who are some good robots? Come on, Alex, you know this. You watch science fiction.
What about Bender?
Oh my God, yes, Bender could pass off. Like you could classify him as kind of
He's an alcoholic
human.
drinking robot. He's got plenty of sass. I think he's classified as a robot.
Well, yeah, he's classified as a robot. That's what he is.
Or,
But could
I'm
he be classified
sorry,
as a human?
he could be classified as a human.
I think he could be. I mean, he's got emotions. He's got his own agenda. He has his own personality. He has maybe not exactly a drive to better himself because I mean he drinks himself into a stupor. But I mean, come on, he's you could say that he's practically human. He could be his own person. Now, this is one that I literally just thought of, but this is a good one. What about the Transformers?
Ooh.
Because,
They feel emotion, they feel remorse. If one of their own dies, they're sad, one of their own
mhm.
is killed. And they respect them properly as such.
See, and this is a kind of a one to wrestle with because technically, and basically the whole point of this conversation is could a human being make a decision for this robot without the robot's consent? That's basically the whole thing I'm trying to say here, right?
Yeah,
That's what the whole Star Trek
the
episode is about.
Transformers have their
They
own
weren't
organization. They don't
they
take orders from a human.
they
They take
weren't
orders
built by
from
humans. They,
huh?
they they were not built by humans. They come from their own planet.
Exactly.
So if they came to Earth, could a human being take control over them? And I think no. I don't. I don't think so. I think the Autobots and the Decepticons are their own race. They're living organisms. Um, they are alive. So
Right.
I think that they're practically
All right.
equal to humans.
Here's a good one. The Iron Giant.
See, I haven't seen that movie, so I can't
What?
comment.
You haven't seen the Iron
I haven't
Giant?
seen the Iron Giant.
Ah, I would have thought of out of all people, you would have been the one to seen that.
I have not seen the Iron Giant. I've heard of it. I mean, I know what it's about, kind of, but I've never ever
Well,
seen it.
I'm surprised you haven't mentioned this next one before now.
Okay, which one?
Marvin.
The Paranoid Android?
Yep.
I was actually thinking about it, but I wasn't sure if you would know too much about him, so I wasn't going to say it.
I mean, I know who he is, and I know where he's from.
Basically, for those of you who don't know who Marvin the Paranoid Android is, he's from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and he is a really, 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 really depressed robot. I mean, he's depressed, and it's fun. It's hilarious. Not depression's not hilarious. I'm not saying that. Believe me, but the way this character is, he's freaking fantastic. And in the movie, he's actually voiced by Alan Rickman, who played Snape in the Harry Potter series.
Seriously?
Oh, you haven't seen the movie?
No.
Dude, yeah, Snape voices him, and it's great because he's the perfect voice for him.
Honestly, I think if I get a GPS personalized voice, I would want Snape as my personalized voice for a GPS.
Turn on Route 394.
You missed your turn. Make the first legal U-turn. Do not disappoint me again.
Oh my god.
I think I broke Alex.
Okay.
You good, Alex? You alright?
Oh, wow, Vance, why?
What?
Oh my goodness.
Come on, it was funny.
No, really? Is that why I spent the last minute and a half laughing?
I don't know. Seriously though, wouldn't that be awesome though?
That would be great. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm good.
You good?
I'm good.
Alright.
Okay. I can't think of any other robots.
No, neither can I.
No, but I mean, it's a good topic, and there's a lot of questions you can raise from it and try to answer. So, Vance, do you have any final thoughts?
I think it's a question we should always, keep debating because there's always new evidence presenting itself, and to ever really answer this question in its entirety, we have to look at a deeper question, which we're not doing today. What's the difference between an android and a human? What are the actual complete differences between them?
And the even bigger question you have to ask, which is one we're not going to talk about ever, because it'll take like 3 or 4 episodes, each about being 4 hours long. What does it mean to be a human?
Oh, wow. That is deep. So I think something that can classify a robot as a human, or a robot as an android, and by term of association, human, is, do they have feeling? Do they have thought over their own actions? Can they make their own actions without first consulting with a human?
I think that's a good one.
And if you want to ask what makes them human, are they at least in a humanoid figure? I know that one seems very shallow, but Alex,
All right.
anything from you?
That's basically my final question. That's it. Is what makes us human? What sets us apart from everything else?
And we should all think about that. If you beautiful nerds have any ideas, tell us in the comments what you think makes us human. Be sure.
And if you have any counter arguments, go ahead.
No, you're good.
If you have any counter arguments to the points that we made in this podcast, definitely leave them in the comments. Tell us why you disagree, and I might, if I get back on, if I get on YouTube, I'll argue with a couple of you. I can do that.
And I'm always on YouTube, so I'll be sure to check it out. And so if you people out there have enjoyed, remember to leave a rating and subscribing. It really helps out our day. And until next time, my friends.